Good afternoon. Welcome to your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. It's a weekly program where we dissect very interesting issues as they crop up in a very, very great nation, Nigeria. Within the Nigerian space, whatever is of interest is what we look at. My name is Egosa Agbonlao. I must tell you that today's program is a must for you. It's a must for all Nigerians. Because Mr. President Tinubu released a statement or made a public statement that is now in the public domain that Nigerians have no reason to be poor. He's not the first president to have said that. Our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, also made that statement. So, what is the problem? Because if you look at Nigeria's rating on the international stage, on world stage, Nigeria is still regarded as underdeveloped, as a poor nation. Whereas, many persons will say Nigeria is the giant of Africa. So, we have in the studio today very eminent personalities who have made remarkable impacts in their chosen fields of human endeavor. And they will be dissecting it. We have with us a clergyman, a businessman, a man that also knows the political terrain of this state, Dr. Emeka Ekuga. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you, Agbonlao. Nigerians, it's a wonderful year.
Okay, we also have with us an educationist, a school proprietor, and a very renowned clergyman, Reverend Benson Ogirake. Nice to have you today.
Good afternoon, my beloved brother, and good afternoon to Nigerians.
Okay. We also have with us a very well-traveled man, a financial expert, and is a man that also knows the political terrain. Iwanfo Omongbe. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you once again, Osa, for having me on the program.
I must tell you, we're just making comments behind the scene. We're looking at this issue of poverty in Nigeria. I'm going to start with Mr. Omorogbe Iwanfo. Are you in tandem with the statement of President Tinubu that Nigerians have no reason to be poor?
Poverty, as the word connotes, is a situation where one cannot afford the basic needs. And it might even be in form of an individual or a community, or even from the family. Looking at what the president has said, I vividly understand his clause or his phrase as in Nigerians should not, no Nigerian should be poor. I think he has made that statement out of the fact that he's looking at our resources, our financial resources. But however, I still feel that that statement is with some kind of shortcomings, because irrespective of the fact that this country, as they say, that is a rich country, but having to look at the fact that the richness gets to the poorest of the poor, I mean to the downtrodden, is not really something I would say that is going around, because the wealth of this country is concentrated on some sets of people. And poverty, as I have earlier said, is a situation whereby one is lacking the basic needs like housing, adequate health care, even water. A lot of communities in this country, most of them don't even have as common as water to clean water to drink. So I wouldn't agree with what the president has said, that we should not have, we are not supposed to have poor people in our midst if the resources of this country is where are next to how it's supposed to be. So I still feel that it's a big concern, and it's a very good and interesting topic you have chosen today, because I relate with a lot of people who are down the ladder very well in terms of business and even in terms of the family I'm from and all that. People are not actually getting the basic needs as it ought to be. I agree that there's no jurisdiction all over that has no level of poverty. Even in America, they still have about 32 or 33 million citizens that are regarded poor. But if you look at the percentage as regards their population, you see that it's okay. But in the place of Nigeria, we will have about 200 million, more than 200 million citizens, and more than half of it are regarded as poor. It's a concern. Yes. And those of us who still feel that things are a little bit okay for us, if we actually want to measure, if there's a means of measuring who is actually poor in Nigeria, I think those that are even up the ladder are not even up to 10% of our population.
Thank you very much. We'll just take the thoughts of Reverend Benson Ogeraki. Do you agree with the president?
My beloved.
Yes. Should Nigerians be poor?
To be honest with you,
okay,
I will first of all just come out straight that I am in total disagreement.
Okay.
The reason is that if you look at the factors that are facing the pressure in this country, I can categorically say that the tenure of the present government has created more hardship for the people to be poor. For instance, on the first day when they were being inaugurated, was when a statement was made that the price of things went up. Now let me make some analysis. For a man who have been, who said is a senior staff, is earning 150,000, and is to use about 90,000 naira to buy fuel in his car, is left with how much? 60,000. Then feeding is there, medical bills they are there. Then when you talk about other things that have to do with the issue of school fees and all that, you discover that such a man, in quote, is a senior staff. But with the level of the resources that is at his disposal, he has just stepped down. Even if they promoted him in the office with an increase of salary, how much can he be able to save? Then looking at other aspects that have to do with security. For instance, there are people, to be honest with you, Nigerians are hard-working people.
Yeah.
Nigerians are hard-working people. Some of the things that are faced there in this country, if it's other country, I know that they would have gone down the drain. But Nigerians, any time that they discover that the situation is becoming tough, they try to make sure that they invent other means to survive.
Yeah.
And you find out that even people who decided to go into farming, government is not giving any assistance to say, okay, they want to give assistance to them. Yet, you find out that there are some other people from other tribes who are just going around to be fighting farmers to claim their lands. What has government done about it? A lot of people have run out of their own cities. Insecurity is there. Then if we also go beyond there, do you know that if not because that Nigerians have decided to rise up to their own, to some responsibility, taking up government responsibility, who's supposed to provide water? But today, even in this city where we are now, Edo State, is there any water that is provided by the government? No. If if not because of individual effort, trying to make sure that they sink boreholes. In fact, at this time, I wonder if people would have not been going out to be looking for other means to at least get water. Then what other things are we going to talk about? Electricity. For somebody to start up a business and the business is just coming up, you have not made any profit, but you are spending more than what you have calculated to run the business just to generate electricity. So how will such a business be able to survive? Who is supposed to make the provision for electricity? Is it not the government? They have not done anything. But you find that a lot of Nigerians are actually struggling to make sure that they are able to survive in this hard time. Then look at Upper, for instance, where I stay. Since January 1st, no, sorry, since 25th December, do you know there was no light? January, no light. Up till now, few days ago, they just came, they flash it. How many minutes? 2 minutes. After that, they flash it again. I was trying to say, what kind of a thing is this? To worsen it, sir, to worsen it. Even when there is no light, yet the electricity staff, they will still bring bills. And in the process of the individual trying to resist, you discover that they will come, they will just off a whole community. They will say because you want to fight the staff. How can you bring light? Just if you calculate it within a month, if you put all things together, maybe 6 to 7 hours in a month, and yet you are bringing bill. When you are even bringing the bill, they are bringing estimated bill. Yet you want to cry out to say, how come this thing is like this? The government who's supposed to regulate it, who's supposed to talk to them, they are not there. How can it be that, for instance, those who are providing the electricity, then when there will be problem with the pole, is the community or individual that will buy the pole? If there is problem in the transformer, is the community that will contribute to fix it? So if there is anything that is needed to be bought, it is the community that will do it. And if you go beyond there, what about meters? The other day they started circulating papers in Upper. And these are your own properties that you use to generate income for yourself. Yet, people who are supposed to be your customers are now the one bearing your burden. So, what are the things that should make a president to say that Nigerians are supposed not to be poor when all these things are not taken care of? What about roads? That you discover that these are basic amenities that the government is supposed to provide for the people. Yet, what are they doing? But first of all, I want to say to all Nigerians that they should not respond negatively towards such statement, because Nigerians are hard-working people, and I actually salute their effort. But the government need to rise up to her own responsibility to make sure that they create an enabling environment for those who have also stepped out to say, let them be able to strive, to be able to survive, to actually have the opportunity to survive.
Thank you very much, Reverend Benson Ogerake. Very, very expository. You will agree with me. I knew that statement by President Tinubu would trigger reactions, so I'm not surprised the way my guests are able to dissect the statement of the president. But we have with us somebody that understands the business setting in Nigeria. He's a businessman. He also understands the political intrigues, because he's part of them. He knows them. Though he has been doing positive work on the political scene, you may not understand what I'm talking about. Dr. Emeka Ekuga, what's your own reaction to the statement of the president? Do Nigerians really have reason to say they are poor?
Thank you very much, Abolao. Let me start from the points my beloved brother here inputted. Nigerians are hard-working fellows.
Yes,
and that is what is sustaining us. Now, Mr. President, George said, Nigerians has no reason to be poor. This should be the angle he is coming from. And at the same time, I like that statement. It's an encouraging statement in a way. Okay. If only he can stand strong to implement good policies. Because it's not to make policies. The problem of Nigerians being poor, or the poverty in Nigeria, is as a result of not implementing positive policies. Now, let me come in here. Yeah. He just made a statement that when he came in, the very first day, President Tinubu was inaugurated, and he said, from henceforth, subsidy is removed. There are a lot of subsidies that have been removed in Nigeria, and we've been coping with it unknowing to ourselves, like in this electricity and more of them. But he measured only on petroleum, fuel. Before now, in diesel, or popularly, do I call it gas, but diesel, NGO. Yes, NGO. This, what do you call it, subsidy has already been removed in diesel before swearing in on Mr. President. And you agree with me, that was why diesel was as high as 1,000 plus. And kerosene is nowhere to be found. But because much interest and a lot of people make use of petrol for your generator, for your motor, for so many things, you see, when he mentioned subsidy in petrol removed, a lot of people now decide to increase their own markets or goods in their possessions in the market, and the things become harder. Landlords increase their rents. Everything you touch, flies up. There was no preparation put in place before that announcement. Of course, there should be things that we should be able to say, yes, he has implemented on this, especially before he removed that very subsidy. That's why things are biting hard. But when he comes up and says, no Nigerian supposed to be poor, they are supposed to not be a poor person in Nigeria, he's looking at the angle where the former, what do you call him, the former spokesperson to the former president, the Yoruba guy, what is his name?
Okay, the former Minister of Information?
No, not information, on media.
Okay, Femi
Adesina, something like that. Yes. When he made a statement, a very clear statement on a national television, that if anything in Nigeria, just like this petrol, I quote, is 1 million naira, Nigerians will buy it. And of course, you agree. As soon as he made that statement, before you knew it, petrol or fuel was a kind of increased. And the people a kind of watch. The next thing, filling stations are filled up again. People are buying. So this is the area Mr. President is looking at to say Nigerians suppose or have no reason to be poor. But on the contrary, Mr. President supposed not to make that statement. I'm sorry to use this language, because there are nothing put in place. Children out of school, education is nothing to write home about in Nigeria. Insecurity is nothing to write home about in Nigeria. But let me shock you with this. When a single man, a single person, took away over 40-something trillion, I don't want to mention them, but even if I mention them, it's in the social domain, public domain. Even if I mention it, the former CBN governor, one person, how much did he return?
About 4 billion now.
More than that.
4 billion as last week.
No, it's under investigation.
It's under investigation. We are talking about the one.
So that we get the
see,
because these are allegations.
These are but these are things. These are things those who are investigating has brought to the public domain.
Yes.
If one person can steal this huge amount of money, one person can steal this huge amount of money. I think I will quote Mr. President right that Nigerians, if we share this money in question, this money in question is a budget of about 5 states. This money in question is a budget. This is the one they can say they see, not the ones that are here
for investigation to
let's start from the one we agree that we've seen. Before we talk about the ones that are hidden, they are yet to fish out. Look at some what do you call this one? This something gate.
Okay, is it the humanitarian ministry?
Yes, the minister under 6 months.
Yes.
Under 6 months.
Yes.
Look at the huge amount of money that is said is being removed from a ministry. So if Mr. President said Nigerians are supposed not to be poor, he is right in a way. Because if you put all this money together and share it for every one of us and say, go and hustle, or God will make millions. As a businessman, I will make a very good use of it. I will expand areas, jurisdictions. I will make sure that employments are being given to these young graduates. Because you see them, I see many of them in ITV here. Kudos to ITV. I see many of them here, they have been coming to learn. They are in IT. They are doing, after IT, will they be employed? Is there any
go back to school?
Is there any space for employment? They go back to school.
Yes.
When they graduate, will they hit their heart and say, after graduation, I have a work? And that is why they are encouraging that even when they are in school, they should be able to learn a skill. The government, the policies of some of the governors or the state government there is okay. They should go and learn skills. I see them making hair. I see them, sewing clothes. And by the grace of God, by this they can put food on their table. Yeah. By this they can make so many, they can give support to their siblings. But let's assume they didn't learn any skill. And they are there after schools, after their parents have spent resources, and they came out, there is nothing to show that they have graduated. This is where the problem is. Mr. President should be able to implement this quality and good policies. That is only basics, whereby we can say Nigerians can never and are supposed not to be poor. If an appointee can carry a budget of about 5 states and they recover it, after recovering, we don't know where they put it. Another one from another side will also carry it. I mean, poverty will continue. Now, I want to also make this point so that whomever is listening should also add it to whatsoever they have gathered. Our politicians is one of the major reasons why the policies of the government, good policies of the government, is not working. Because we are talking about eradicating poverty in our nation, Nigeria. If the politicians can help the government to implement good policies, I think Nigerians are supposed not to be poor.
Okay.
Everybody is swimming into the area of politics. Everybody wants to be a politician because they know once you enter there, you pay your dues. Because they pay dues. There are people you cannot touch in the system. There are people you cannot near. There is some $4 billion. They don't collect nairas. I don't know why Nigerians that are using Nigerian currency, naira, is only, measuring in pounds and dollars. Our politicians don't use nairas. I remember one convention sometime in Port Harcourt. There was a convention. I don't want to mention the political party. Yeah. Sometime in Port Harcourt, my brother, a presidential candidate, came out and never shared naira. He shared dollars. And people are watching. A government that comes in like the government of APC that is on board now, President Tinubu is aware of it. If he had shared billions of dollars during convention to be elected into office, he shared money for people to vote him. He shared money for people to a kind of take him as a candidate. And whatever that follows, the judiciary share their own or get their own. How will a good policy work for poverty to be eradicated in our country?
Thank you, Dr. Emeka Ekuga. So Avia don't misunderstand what Dr. Emeka is talking. He is alleging that yes, there was a presidential candidate who allegedly also gave money to delegates, but that we cannot substantiate on this program. And he is saying that, oh, the President Tinubu, by virtue of his level, may be aware of what some of these politicians are doing. So probably he believes that there's so much money in the country. Probably that's why he made the statement. But we must take the positives. President Tinubu believes that Nigeria is a great country. Of course, Nigeria is a great country. If we harness the mineral and human resources of Nigeria positively, then there will be wealth creation. The youth will have jobs. There will be industries. Don't forget, many years ago, when you graduate from any Nigerian university, we are told that a vehicle will be given to you. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll analyze this topic further. Okay, before the break, my guest, Dr. Emeka, talked about sharing. We are so used to the issue of sharing, share the money in Nigeria. They are saying that, oh, the money that they do in the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, that money, Dr. Emeka said, assuming it was shared, he will use his own to even establish businesses that can employ people. That's to tell you the kind of heart that he has. Those are the kind of people we need in this country. People that have large heart, that think of others, that think of the youth, that think of how to empower the youth. Because the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. If you do not empower them today, I wonder the kind of leaders we are expecting in Nigeria. So we are looking at policies that are applicable in terms of eradication of poverty in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is such a great country, we ought not to have problem of poverty. But there's poverty. Even those who are working, some people have parked their vehicles. I know of lecturers now, they have to park their vehicle because they are intelligent, so they are rational. They've been able to calculate, use about 6,000 to 10,000 naira a day. How much is your salary at the end of the month? A young businessman told me that if you don't write it down, you wouldn't know what you have spent about 300,000 naira on fueling your car. Because some people don't write, they don't write down. Even what they buy at home, they don't write it down. They just give their wife money, go to market. They don't know. If you calculate, sometimes you find out that in a year, you spent close to 2 million. And how much is your salary? Your salary is not even up to 2 million in a year. I'm talking about some employed persons. Well, we have a financial expert with us. I know that he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's now look at how to eradicate poverty.
You're talking about the issue of, my colleague has talked about the
yes.
issue of implementation of different policies.
Yes.
We've had policies upon policies in this country. Like I always said, we should not waste time talking about policies anymore. It should be the implementation we'll be talking about, because there are 1,001 programs that has been inaugurated, that has been postulated in this country over the years, and it's like the policy will come up and the implementation will just be like as if nothing happened. We have seen programs like Operation Feed the Nation, better life for rural women, green revolution, and these are programs set up by federal government of previous government to if not to eradicate, at least to reduce poverty. You actually cannot just eradicate poverty anyway from any society, but at least to a barest minimum. In a situation whereby we have a lot of social amenities to contend with, you discover that it will be difficult for us to actually reduce this poverty to a minimum, a bearable minimum, bearable level. You have earlier said there are some basic things the government are supposed to put in place, like some a situation whereby you go to the farm. There are families that are maintaining their homes with just substantial family by way of farming, by way of just farming to eat.
Subsistence farming.
Farming. You discover that you go to the farm these days. You go to the farm even as close as Iyowa community. Few days ago, somebody was kidnapped there. So if I have I live at Isio, if I have a piece of land at Iyowana or Ewuneka to just do some small farming, and on the long run I'm being kidnapped, what now happens to my family? Somebody that goes to the farm, for example, to do petty farm, they will kidnap the person and a ransom of about 10 million will be asked. Where will that money come from? Even if at the end of the day 1-2 million is being paid, but at the end you discover that you have killed the zeal of that person to at least to continue that farming. Insecurity is a problem in this country. It's everywhere. You don't have to even be in a place like Iyowa or Ewuneka to be kidnapped. They started it in Abuja now. They go to houses. And let me tell Nigerians for free, it will come down south. Those days when they were only kidnapping the white men in Port Harcourt were just coming up in the early 80s. I told my younger ones then, I said, this kidnapping stuff will come down to us. They thought I was joking. So we should try as much as possible to allow or to tell these people, I mean our leaders, that insecurity is becoming something else in this country. They started it in the seat of power now, and small is going to come down.
We are glad that the federal government, the FCT minister, the general police, they have promised to tackle it. Yes, tackle kidnapping in Abuja.
That is we've been hearing that.
That is what we expect. That is what we expect, and we are looking at a situation whereby what they have said will be real, because there's no difference between kidnapping or banditry in Abuja or the one that happened in Iyowa. We are all Nigerians.
Thank you.
So they don't have to overemphasize or overprotect Abuja, leaving Iyowa as a less important community. So to me, I still feel that there are still some basic things they have to put in place. Insecurity, I've talked about that. This issue of what do we really need to step up the economic situation for our city? Very little things. Give them clean water. Although we are now becoming our own water boards now.
Yeah, but then some people cannot drink from borehole.
Yes, I do anyway.
Okay, I do. But some persons can't.
Because they still have money.
That is true.
Because of immunity difference. Your immunity may be very strong. But another person's immunity might have been compromised.
Good roads. I want to just digress a little bit. If you enter Ikoso the road after Uniben, 5 years ago, that road was like a no road. It has been tarred. Just go in there around 5 or in the morning, you see businesses coming up. They just constructed only road. Imagine if they add just lights now.
Electricity.
Electricity. So you discover that these are small things they ought to have been, they ought to have done, so that at the end of the day, if I engage myself, my wife engages herself, my senior daughter engages herself, to some extent, poverty will be reduced in that home. But whereby a situation whereby you set up a small shop, because actually in all other jurisdictions, it's the small businesses that actually drives the economy.
Yeah.
Because how many of these multinational companies do we have in Benin? How many?
Some are even relocated from Nigeria.
Yeah, how many do we even have in Nigeria? So this small hairdresser, that woman selling bola at the junction, the barber at one end, and another person selling cassettes and all that, small telephone accessories and all that. Yeah. So if we are actually engaged, you find out that gradually it will eradicate. My brother mentioned something just now, that the money stolen from this our public force or hand, that if it is shared among Nigerians, it will be. I don't agree with that kind of philosophy of having to give money. Put amenities in place. Don't give me money. Let there be light in Nitel Road. I will flourish. My business will flourish. Let there be security in Nitel Road. My business will flourish. If you enter Nitel Road at 6 o'clock, nobody there, because it will just be like a dead end. We've witnessed 7 months, no light around this area now. No light. So how do you expect that hairdresser in my complex to strive? How do you expect that barber to be able to do something and have it take home at the end of the day after buying fuel for 700 naira or 600 naira?
Thank you, Mr. Awanfo. That's very expository too. Reverend Ogera, the way forward now is what matters now. How do we come out of poverty?
So I want to say this with all sincerity. One of the major ways that we can actually come out of poverty.
Yes.
Because that is what we are looking at.
Yes.
I don't want to use the word mess.
Okay.
But I have to say this. If our leaders who have the opportunity to be in position of authority to drive the wheel of this country, the first major thing that they have to imbibe is sincerity.
Okay.
Sincerity. Because if you look at the lives of our leaders, that we tend to rest as those who are piloting the affairs of this country, majority of them are not sincere. That is number one. Number two is the majority of the leaders, they are in this country, but they don't love this country. I have to be sincere with you. Somebody will be saying, why will you say that they don't love the country? If I love my country, God forbid I will not steal. If peradventure that money enters into my hand, if I invest here and been able to employ others, you discover that I have contributed. Instead of stealing our money, traveling out of the country to go and be establishing there. The reason I am not talking more of the implementation of policies is because there are a lot of policies that have already been enacted. But the political will to be able to drive it, to monitor it, to implement them is not there. For instance, permit me to say this, I'm trying to use it to analyze. If as four of us are here now, and we're now saying, okay, we need one person as the leader who will lead us, only to find out that everybody are trying to say, okay, I want us to lead, and we're just looking for one person. And maybe 3 or 4 we decided to now say, okay, I tell the 2 of them, I said, please, I will come out, though I'm not qualified, but make sure that you support me.
As a consensus candidate.
Yes, and they decide to support me, even when they know that I don't have the ability to be able to do it. If they have supported me and I'm already there, with their resources, let us be sincere with ourselves. When I enter the position, who will I service first?
The people that have nominated you.
They are the one. So you now discover that in the process of trying to service them, I will now be 40 in trying to make sure that I do my
the right
responsibilities.
thing.
So what I'm trying to say to cut it, to try to summarize it, is that one, let our leaders be sincere to themselves, be sincere to the people that they are leading, and they should be able to take a step and said, the time has come, let us rise up. Like the time of Diabon, for instance, when there was a war against indiscipline. You find out that these same countries are that you think that people are not
lawless. Yes,
everybody sit up. So the authority to actually make sure that discipline is implemented is in the hand of the government. They should rise up, they should be sincere with themselves, they should love this country and make sure that every resources that are at their disposal, they should tell themselves, as I'm looking at you now, tell yourself it's not your money. The money belongs to this nation. It's not your money. Yeah. Tell the one that is your own. Leave the rest for this country, to develop this country.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka. The way out. I know you mentioned it that, opening of businesses will absorb so many people. I know those from the eastern part of Nigeria, they have a system, how they train younger ones, mentorship, and it's working.
That's right.
It's working. Somebody said the Harvard School is even studying it.
That's right.
You know, that mentorship you take from different families. Because I've always wondered, you see the owner of a shop, he will just go and be looking for business elsewhere. He will leave the shop in the hands of a young boy. The boy will not steal a penny. I was not wondering why, until I got the reason. Maybe you can confirm it. The boy will not steal a penny because if he does that, he has not only ruined his family reputation, nobody will go to that family to pick any apprentice again. He will become he might be disowned by his own parents because he has ruined the chances of others. Then that mentorship process, he has also ruined it. The master will not do freedom.
To him,
they call it freedom. Will not do freedom for him. So he can't steal. He must work diligently, honestly, so that at the end of the mentorship, the master can say, you have done well. You have this one. I know somebody in New Benin Market. He will open shop for his boy. If the boy has not gotten a shop, you say, okay, come and be selling your things in front of my own first. I don't want to measure his name. If he's watching this program, he knows. So wonderful arrangement, Dr. Emeka.
All right.
So how do we come out of poverty?
Yeah, very, very simple. Just like I said earlier, perhaps my brother didn't get it clear. I am not asking the federal government to share money to individuals. No, I say let's assume.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Because the money is stolen. If peradventure is being shared one after another, a lot of us will make a very beautiful use of it. Yeah. That is what I meant. Okay. There are other things federal government will do to encourage eradication of poverty. Now, the policies in taxing, you know, taxation. You go to Alaba International, you go to Port Authority, you want to bring in your goods. The kind of money you paid to clear your goods, my mind, you discover that it is mind-blowing. And these things will end up from the end users, the consumers. So if the modernization of tax to those who are struggling to earn a living is being implemented, implementation is the problem in policies.
Yes.
I think things will start getting fine and good. The federal government, the president is aware how things are biting very, very hard. Let there be check and balance. The single account policies of the federal government. If you discovered with even single account policy, it's not helping. Even at that, people are still looting more and more. Yeah. Abacha loots and were recovered. Where was that money channeled to? Yeah, I am happy River Niger on the second Niger Bridge. I passed there while I was going home for Christmas I passed there going and coming back. There was nothing like a hold up of such again in that area.
So the second Niger Bridge is functional now?
Functional. I must be honest. Kudos to the government of starting from Goodluck to Buhari, and whether we like it or not, it is in the time of Mr. President Tinubu that I can say I applied that road, and I enjoyed it. If things are being done like that, I think is a way out of poverty. Mr. Governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki, as a few days ago commissioned Welu Road. And why I was coming,
the construction of flag it off, commencement.
I pray they will focus on it and finish it. I believe him. Most of the roads I see he has done is something to talk good about. If you get to Adola, a lot of hold up right now, just because construction company there, the construction company is right there now, working.
Trying to fix that bad portion.
Yes, all those bad portions. If you do well, we will tell you you've done well. Let Mr. President, the governors, and the whatever ministers or commissioners, let there be check and balance. If by the time you give an assignment to this minister, and you come to discover, Mr. President, I'm referring to now, to eradicate poverty, to implement better policies. If the minister is not doing well, you should not be waiting because you employed, you appointed such a person because the father or the uncle or the brother or whomever kind of said you were not qualified, but I ask you to help you to go in there. You begin to settle first. And when there is a mistake, you overlook. It's wrong.
Okay.
I watched something during campaign of Mr. President. He went to visit a business, room or whatever you may say it. And when I watched that, the young man appreciated him coming and said, when he become a president, this is my daughter. I laughed. And what does it mean? Perhaps he has kind of helped him. But up to today, I have not seen if that young lady is given any appointment.
You may not know. No,
I may not know.
Yeah, there are many positions.
But what I have seen,
I'm going to interject now because you need to quickly comment on this so that the others will comment. Now, one of the policies of government, of this government.
Yes.
And it existed before this government.
Yes.
That's the reason we have the humanitarian ministry. They share money. They said they share money to poor people. So this woman too, Edu, was supposed to also share money to poor people. Do you think that's a good policy? To share money to poor? How do you know the poor people?
That's the problem.
What data, what statistics do you have?
That's the problem.
Quick one.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Let me take you quickly.
Yes. Quickly comment on it because of time.
The same humanitarian.
Okay.
Feeding of the school children.
Yeah, feeding program, school feeding program.
School feeding program is also a policy, but it has not. It cannot eradicate poverty, because by this you create a vacuum for more stealing.
Thank you.
There will be no next thing.
Okay, Reverend Ogeraki, a quick one.
Okay, what I want to say, sir, is that actually to multiply money is by investment.
Okay.
So I want to say to all Nigerians that the way they have been strong, the way they have been doing their best, God will still strengthen them. Amen. So whatever that comes to their hand now, let them go after investment. Try to leave out liability and take up what will grow your money.
Thank you. Quick one, Reverend Mr. Iwanfo.
Yeah. Personally, I have confidence in the president and this present administration. I will advise Nigerians to be patient with them.
Okay.
And we have seen him perform in Lagos, even in Mobile Oil, where he was working in Mobile Oil. So Mr. President will not see any of his staff do the wrong thing and cover them up. We have seen it in his
approach
so far.
Yeah,
so,
we've seen him suspend a minister. And they are facing the EFCC now. Yes. This is a woman that was even APC national woman leader. So that's to tell you that President Bola Tinubu has been able to prove to Nigerians that he's really against corruption. On that note, I will say thank you for spending 60 minutes with us. I want to thank my guests. You've been very wonderful. Thumbs up to my guests. And do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.